be sitting there, and the collection plate would go around, and my dad would always put money in the collection plate. And I remember several times seeing like the checks that he would put in the collection plate, and just being like, "That's a lot of money. I could buy some nice shoes, or
would have to keep wearing tissue boxes, Dad."
Hello, welcome back, my friends. If you're new here, I am Lance B. If you're returning, welcome back. How you doing? Today we are doing another Mike Burned Fire Campfire Stories, and today I'd like to give a special shout out to Anarcho Mando. Anarcho Mando, you recommended Losing My Religion story. So today we're going to be reacting to that today. So thank you for the suggestion. Everyone show Arnarcho. I'm so sorry if I'm screwing this name up. Anarcho. Show Anarcho some love for suggesting it. Thank you so much. Of course, I'll leave the link of Mike Burned Fire's video for his channel down below, so you can check out the rest of the archives of that creator. And of course, like and subscribe and hit that notification if you haven't already. And please comment. It works. The algorithm loves it so much. And yeah, if you have a suggestion, I'll always, if I do the reaction suggestion, I will always give you a shout out in that video to show you some love, to say thank you for suggesting the video that we are watching for the day. And if you want to check out what new videos I am doing for the day, I always post on my Instagram. So of that day, I always have the new thumbnails up, so you'll know for either. I have two channels. My main channel, Lance B Reacting. In this channel, I am very gassy. In this channel, Lance B Gaming. So you'll know if you don't see anything. I live in Florida, so I post pretty early in the morning here in Florida. So if you don't see anything posted, then I'm not doing a video for that day. But if you do, then I am doing videos for that day. So check that out. I'm also on Twitter. I have Facebook too, but I really don't call it Facebook. I kind of post my new videos there, but you can check out my Facebook if you want. But the Instagram is like a number one thing. So that's what I really care about. Twitter, yeah. Go on my Twitter. I don't really post. I just post new stuff on there. Always, and of course, go on my main channel's community tab. I usually have a little something up on there. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into this reaction.
Hey, all you little fucking nerds watching online. We like to fuck in the ass.
X-rated!
Woo! Yeah, come on, baby.
You know what they do when the Pope dies?
No, what do they do when the Pope dies?
Oh my god, you're gonna love this. So when the Pope dies, there is an actual procedure. If he dies at the Vatican, what they do is they go up to him with a little tiny gold hammer, tap him on the forehead with a hammer. Michael! Yeah, he's dead.
Three taps.
He's totally dead.
3 taps and you're out. It's like baseball.
I hit him in the head 3 times with a tiny golden mallet. I don't know what to tell you. He's dead.
Well, that second one was a foul ball.
What if the guy that's hitting him is like, just like really wants to be the next Pope? So they're like, Michael! And he's like, stop it, I'm still alive! No, he's dead, he's dead! Put this pillow over his face.
Get the hammer, and he actually grabs like a claw hammer.
Yeah, I got it, it's a roofing mallet.
I hit him in the head 3 times, he didn't wake up! Blood is dripping, brain matter on the hammer.
You know, considering the Catholic Church's history, I'm sure that happened at one point.
You and I come from similar backgrounds, right? A Protestant family and an extended family, and I went to a Christian Reformed church, and after that I went to a Sunday school and a catechism, and I went to Christian youth groups and Christian cadets, and we went to private Christian schools. I've done that my entire life. I don't know if you've ever been to public elementary school or anything.
Yeah, I went to public school all the way through junior high school.
So you're not as indoctrinated as I was into the Christian lifestyle, but you were still pretty deep in there, right?
Yeah, I would say still pretty deep in there.
And today, here we are, neither of us Christians, right?
Not really, no.
Can you think of anything
Not really, no.
that caused you to start questioning or to outright lose your belief?
I got kicked out of Bible study class, or like one of the Bible study classes in high school,
I don't remember that.
because I got in an argument with a teacher over whether or not Christianity was a monotheistic religion.
It's supposed to be a monotheistic religion, but you're also asked to worship 3 gods, but the
Yeah.
3 gods are themselves. That's actually a decent question to ask, because it's kind of confusing.
Well, Christianity is a polytheistic religion then, because we were talking about other religious types, and they had brought up the thing of polytheism, and I said, well, Christianity is a polytheistic religion then. I know it says it's monotheistic, but it has to be polytheistic because you have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which are the biggest tenets of Christianity. The response was, well, no, it's not. It's a monotheistic religion because there's just one God.
So that's the incident you think of, at least one of the incidents.
That is one of the incidents where I was like, how are you being so close-minded about this? It's not like I'm saying God doesn't exist. I'm just saying that Christianity cannot be a monotheistic religion if there's 3 separate entities.
I was thinking back to how I developed a loss of my religion as well, and I had a similar story when I thought back to one of my Sunday school teachings, and I got in an argument with my Sunday school teacher about what it would require to be saved. She said, only belief in Jesus gets me into heaven. And I said, what about before Jesus? Before Jesus, if you had simply a belief in God, you would get into heaven. And I said,
So why isn't that good enough now?
and I said, at what point did believing in God not become good enough? Take, for example, 2 twins. They live the exact same life. One dies one day after the other. They've lived the exact same life, but one of them goes to hell, one of them goes to heaven? Anyway, I'm not soliciting criticisms of Christianity. I was specifically asking
yeah.
about your personal journey, though.
Anytime I brought up challenging viewpoints as to whether or not it was a monotheistic religion, the response was not to engage me in a discussion about it. The response was to go, no, you are wrong. Get out of my classroom.
Are there any other incidents that immediately come to your
Sounds
mind?
about right.
I think it's a lot of tiny incidents, and I'm not sure if I can bring up specific examples. Well, actually, I can bring up one specific example where when I was at Fort Polk in Louisiana and Hurricane Katrina was approaching, and the hurricane fucked up New Orleans shit, as it should have.
As it should have.
Burn on those guys.
Yeah, hot takes from Zach. And then instead of actually really doing anything, the response was basically, well, just pray for them. Well, when has that done anything?
So you can remember lots of tiny incidents that frustrate you.
It's just weird because, like, I think back on my life and I can't really think of anything, like, exceptional that made me... I'm an atheist at this point.
I can remember small incidents myself. I can distinctly remember a couple of times where my parents disagreed with the church, and I picked up on that. Specifically, I remember one time I came home from my private Christian school, and my mother said, "What did you learn in school today?" And I said, "Today we learned there's no such thing as luck, because it's only through the grace of God that all things are done. So we should never say anyone's lucky, we should say they're fortunate." And I remember my mother looking at me. She rolled her eyes and said something to the effect of, "I can't believe we're paying all this fucking money for a private tuition." And this is what you're learning.
Yeah.
Another incident similar to that was, I remember I was watching TV with my dad, and there was something on the news about gay marriage. That was the hot button issue of the day. Mm-hmm. And I turned to my dad and said, "I don't think gay marriage should be allowed, because it's all about Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve." And I remember that he turned away and said nothing. I was looking for praise, and I did not receive it that day.
I would say that would probably do it.
It's a good thing that I came to terms with it myself, because now I've got a gay stepsister, and I was able to attend her marriage recently. It was a very nice ceremony.
That's nice. I do actually remember one instance of when I was in, I want to say when I was in high school, the church that I went to, the pastor from the church was kicked out because it turned out he had embezzled a lot of money
Oh, yes.
from the church.
You got to see that on a personal level then.
We would be sitting there, and the collection plate would go around, and my dad would always put money in the collection plate. And I remember several times seeing, like, the checks that he would put in the collection plate, and just being like, "That's a lot of money. I could buy some nice shoes." Or,
Wouldn't have to keep wearing tissue boxes, Dad.
wouldn't have to keep wearing socks that got holes in them, or anything like that. But no, that's fine. And then when I found out that the pastor had been
taking the money for himself.
I was very, very annoyed.
The process is gradual, and I think getting fed up with organized religion is one of the steps that leads to getting disenfranchised with religion entirely.
You know what's...
Yeah, because apparently that pastor was buying nice shoes for himself with your money, Zach.
a really good way to become an atheist? Read the entire Bible.
Yeah. Did you do that?
Well, yeah, we had to study it.
Were there any passages that you studied that made you angry about the religion and...
Like the whole thing about the Book of Judges, where it's like, if a lizard should crawl on a jug of water, dispose of the jug of water in a field, and then break the jug into a million pieces. It's like, why? I realized that was for cleanliness issues back then, but I'm not super worried. I have a pet lizard at my house.
What's your name of the lizard?
And I don't actually have a lizard. It's to bring it up as an example.
Oh, I thought maybe you had a lizard named Lizzie.
No.
A lizard named Lizzie.
Yeah, the Frizz.
Please let this be a normal school trip
With the Frizz.
No way!
Cruising on down Main Street.
Okay, anyway. I can't actually think of another one that was another one of those little incidents where it was in high school in biology class. We were going through biology and we were on the part of the topic of evolution. I don't know if our school specifically was real big on the creationism train.
It definitely was.
Well, the reason I say that is because the teacher I had for biology, and I will never forget this exact wording that he said. He said, "We're not supposed to talk about this, but you need to remember to think for yourself and actually do research on things." Mm-hmm. And then he moved on to the next topic. At that moment, I could actually tell that, like, he was not happy about not teaching this.
It's a Christian school. You got to teach creationism.
Learn to think for yourselves. Do some research.
I think we were in a lot of classes, and I either didn't hear that or it didn't register with me.
I don't think we were in biology class together. We were in physics class together.
But I also remember a lot of creationism, and it was only when I got to a public college that I was given a normal science textbook. And in the first week that I got the biology textbook, there was a chapter on evolution. And I was curious, so in my spare time, I opened it and read my biology textbook casually. And it was like I was a 5-year-old who just found out about dinosaurs for the first time. My mind was blown. There was so much cool stuff in that chapter. You tell me there's a nerve that goes from a giraffe's eyeball, goes all the way down to its shoulder blade, and goes back up to its brain? Evolution, you're stupid. Why you do that?
Why would you do that, evolution? It was the most efficient... You're stupid!
Evolution, why you dumb? It inspired me to keep on learning more and more things, and I was amazed at the sheer absurdity of it. Evolution is very imperfect. It doesn't know how to make things good. All it knows how to do is make bad things less bad.
Hi, my name's Mr. Evolution. There's an island off the coast of Italy. We made elephants real tiny.
Fuck off.
Tiny elephants. Weird.
Yeah, they're about the size of like a golden retriever or something. How cute is that? An elephant the size of a golden retriever. I would totally give him a little backpack and have care of my books.
Oh, can you imagine the child riding him into battle like Siam?
He's so cute. I give him a little war armor.
War armor.
Little elephant.
It was a world of mystery that had been opened to me. Did you know that chimpanzees have 48 chromosomes and humans have 46? No, I did not know that. Tell me, where's our missing pair of chromosomes? It's actually 2 chromosomes that got fused together. Which ones? The second and third ones. Amazing! How do you know? Inactive telomeres. Oh my god! Just a giant nerd.
Oh my god. One of my favorite books was the book The Hot Zone. It's a retelling of a true story of how there were a whole warehouse filled with monkeys that were affected with the Ebola virus in like Virginia. And it almost turned into a massive outbreak. Anyway, that was like one of my favorite books when I was in like junior high school. And the book The Andromeda Strain by Michael Crichton. So it's like, and both of those books talk about how viruses will mutate and evolve. So when the whole creationist thing was like being pushed on me, I was like, yeah, but viruses evolve. Why couldn't people? You brought up the Catholic religion, and I find it really interesting that the Catholic religion has actually become open to a lot of things. They've embraced the concept of religion, or They embraced that a long time ago.
You know, they took a strong right turn there.
Man, they just latched on to the concept. No,
Right out of left field.
the Catholic Church has embraced the concept of evolution. The Pope recently has said, he was like, everybody gets into heaven. It doesn't matter if you subscribe to the Christian religion or not, everybody gets into heaven. Because Jesus died for everyone's sins. God loves your child no matter what.
So you should too.
Stop trying to change them. Yeah, I think that is really interesting to me, that he's now all they got to do is just stop protecting child molesters.
Yeah, that didn't really affect us
Thank
because
you.
we weren't Catholic, but I'm sure if we had been raised Catholic and we saw all the pedophilia going on and all the defense of pedophilia going on, that probably would have turned us off. But nope, we weren't Catholic.
Nope.
We're definitely not going to convert with that going on.
Also, the concept of transubstantiation is weird to me.
Oh, someone studied up for this.
Yeah. No, that always really bothered me, and I had some friends while I was in the military who were very strict Catholics, and a lot of the stuff about the Catholic religion, they were very, yes, no, this is true, you're only supposed to eat fish on Fridays, yada, 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 and I would bring up transubstantiation, and they would go, I don't want to talk about that.
By the time I joined the military, I had fallen away from Christianity as a whole, but I wasn't ready to embrace atheism yet, so...
Didn't you have, like, humanist on your dog tags or something?
Nope. I had deist, which is deist, but misspelled.
Oh!
Whoopsie poopsie, I've never been a deist before. I didn't know how to spell it.
I tried to get Viking put on my dog tags when I was at when I went to Iraq, and they were like, "No, you can't do that." And I realized afterwards that I should have said Nordic or not Nordic. I should have said Norse, but they were like, "No, you can't."
What's
can't do
your
that."
religion? Ninja!
Yeah! Well, they let you put Jedi.
Jedi.
I think maybe the last time I felt a religious presence in my soul was in boot camp, because after they've been beating you down day after day, they take a break, and you're required to go to a Sunday service. So you go to church.
They made you go to a Sunday service?
Oh, yes. You were not allowed to not go to a Sunday service. You can go to the Buddhist one if you want, but you're not sitting around here. Get out here. Go.
Oh.
And I went to the church, and we were all holding hands and singing and crying because, oh, the grace of God. This is so great. I'm so happy to be alive. And that was it. That's the last time I ever felt anything.
I think it was Stockholm Syndrome going away.
Yes,
I think it's
probably
Stockholm
was.
Syndrome.
Yeah.
I was just happy to have some sanctuary from the drill instructors. They can't yell at me here. Oh, God, yay.
They didn't make us go to a church service, but if you went to a church service, you didn't have to stay in the barracks. And if you stayed in the barracks, you had to be doing something. I guess this is probably one of the pro-religion points. I went to the church service, and the guy that was leading it, when we showed up there, he said, as long as you're being respectful, you can do whatever you want. If you fall asleep, I'm not going to yell at you.
Nice.
Because if God's going to talk to you, he's going to talk to you while you're asleep or awake. It doesn't really matter.
A church that goes, well, if you fall asleep here, it must have been what God wanted.
Yeah. God must have wanted it, so it's okay. I'm just in the church with a bottle of whiskey. No, God wanted this. It's all right. He put $5 in my wallet to buy his handle, old granddad.
Where'd you get that hamburger? God.
I remember one of the Bible study classes I took. If you didn't know the answer to the question, the answer was always, because God wills it.
Oh, good times. Talking about religion.
Talking about religion.
We put the fun back in fundamentalism.
Damn it, I was about to say it! Ah!
Oh, was that it? That was good. That was actually really good. Thank you for the suggestion. That was a good episode. Losing my yeah, because I know I grew up. My dad's side of the family was Methodist, and my mother's side of the family is Southern Baptist. And it's so strange because Southern Baptist, when I went to a Sunday school, attended one time for each. I went to a few times to the Methodist church with my grandparents. that was actually kind of boring. They were Methodist is kind of boring. That the one we went to, because you stand up, sit down, you sing a hymn, you sit back down, and then you listen to some more wherever the fuck they were talking about. I usually zoned out because it was like so just like gratingly boring. Like, and then you stand back up, you sing another hymn that I never knew. I just kind of lip synced it. And the Southern Baptist was just miserable. They were just like, you didn't have to sing hymns. You just sat there. They just collected money from people who can't really afford to give money out, but they always collected it. And they were just always so just miserable. Miserable twats. I just, the church, that's an, oh God. And that was in Sunday school for the Southern Baptist. Oh, that was horrible. Ugh. I went one time to that one, and that was like, I was done. My mother asked me, she's like, my parents never pushed religion on me. We weren't like super religious. They, they believed in it. We never went to like, some families would do, was it on the New Year or around Christmas, you'll go to like a church or something like that. My family never did that. They just like, they believed in God. And that was, we never went to Sunday church growing up. It was only like when I went to visit my grandparents, that's when I went to the Methodist church a few times. But my parents were never like, oh, you should go to Sunday school. They were like, she asked me right after that first Sunday school at this Southern Baptist church. She's like, do you want to go back? I was like, no. She's like, okay. That was it. Okay. I'm not going to force you. Okay, bye. Go play with your Transformers. I'm going to start cleaning and getting lunch ready. I'm like, so it's not like I was forced. So, yeah. That was my religious upbringing. Not much. So I guess that was a good thing for me anyway. But yeah, Catholic. I remember my mother mentioned some things about that back in the 80s. Like, she's like, I think when her sisters mentioned, like, oh, there's a nice little Catholic, she's like, I don't want to take my son to any Catholic church because I don't know what those men do. And at that time, I was like kind of playing with my like Matchbox cars, and I kind of overheard that, but I didn't understand why until way later. It kind of dawned on me. I was like, oh, so I had to confirm it, and I was like, she couldn't really remember, but she was like, well, there was rumblings about, molestation and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, so yeah. Well, you answered my question, Mom. There you go. She's like, I'm not going to have you get traumatized because, that's not cool. So this was a great video. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I always enjoy that they have the backdrop is New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. I'm a huge Fallout fan, so I always love the concept that they have their little characters and it's always a little campfire. It's really cool. I just love the whole idea of them telling stories in this kind of format. I just love it so much. So, of course, you guys, if you suggest a video and I do the reaction, I will give you a shout out in that video, show some love to say thank you for being a subscriber. Of course, you have to be a subscriber. If you suggest something, you have to be a subscriber for me to want to do the recommendation. It doesn't cost you anything. Now, if you want to do help a poor little creator out, I do have a super thanks down below. I also have it in the link down below, Venmo and PayPal. And for the super thanks, if you say your name and whatever little message you want to write when you buy me a cup of coffee, I will give you a shout out in that next video saying thank you to that super thanks and to show some gratitude. So, once again, thanks for stopping by. This was another great episode, and take care of yourself, take care of each other, and bye.